Satang Prasanga.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to today's session. I pray that all is well with you and your families at this time. So today we're moving on to the next sutra, and it goes as follows. Another response is, how long can this go on, Krishna? Time looks different from Krishna's point of view, the viewpoint of eternity. Trust that Krishna is still there and that days of waiting are never waste and for naught. Often great prayers and other long-standing literary offerings that give solace to others are born from the distress and despair of waiting for Krishna to act. We see that in the inevitable circle of life, there's great wisdom that comes at the moment of death. For those who can't understand the philosophy that we're not this body, we see that until somebody dies, then only the reality of life sets in, whereby they say, the person has left, or the body is in the mortuary, or the body is coming to the house at a certain time or to the temple. So now their loved one is no longer being called by the name. Now it's being called the body. So at the moment of death, even they get some wisdom of how life works. So the Vedic philosophers then ask, why are you attached to the body? It's because of the soul. So all the while you were relating to the soul via the medium of the body. Because now that the soul has left the body, you are relating to the person as the body now. So you have some philosophical idea that this was not my father, my mother, my loved one. This was the body all along. Because what is the difference? Prabhupada asks, what is the difference with the dead body and the living body? It looks the same, everything is the same, but you know the person is not there. So who are you loving all the while is the big question. And if we think about it, we were actually just attached to the body. And why were we loving this body all along? Because of the soul within it. So why do we love the soul then? So Prabhupada then answers this very powerful question. And he says, we love the soul because the soul is part and parcel of Krishna. So why do we love the soul? Because it's part and parcel of Krishna. So actually we love Krishna. And then he explains that if we can get attached and love someone just within a period of 30 years or 50 years in our relationship with them, can you imagine the eternal relationship with Krishna? What is that love relationship like? And that we've completely forgotten about, that we have no deep connection with. So what is that relationship like? When are we going to reconnect there? The sutra today says, another response is, how long can this go on, Krishna? How many times have we chanted this mantra? This became like a Maha mantra. So many times, Krishna, how long can this go on? This is too much. I was relating the story once when I met my Guru Maharaj at Lanesia temple, and he didn't speak much. But at the end, when he was leaving, he was in his car, and then he just rolled down the window and said, if you knew what Lord Chaitanya had planned for you, you would scream. that was like really, because many times we feel situations are insurmountable. This is too much. So many things at one time. I'm not like you, Krishna. Universal form, so many hands, I can handle it. I only have 2 hands. Send one problem at a time. 2 hands means one problem at a time. You send tsunami of problems, and then how am I supposed to handle these? So the reality is, just like the person whose loved one has passed away, is the illusion that we're staying in. The illusion that we are is the illusion that we are living in, that this is all real. As soon as we get to some understanding that this is just an illusion and we should break the cycle of that by some transcendental knowledge, then assessing the problem is on a different level. It goes on to say, time looks different from Krishna's point of view, the viewpoint of eternity. Remember, our time here is relative. Prabhupada gave the example that he called the spaceship the Sputnik. Sputnik, I think, is a German term for it. So he says, the Sputnik was going. So he was explaining that they went around the planet 3 times in 1 hour 25 minutes. And they saw the planet move from dark to night, day to night. So for them it was only 1 hour 25 minutes, and for us it was 24 hours. Just from that experiment you can see how relative time is. So, and Krishna is not prone to time. Kalosmi lokadris pravistate. He says, I am control, I am time. That's the way he controls the material energy. Everything here is controlled by time. That one principle is the governing principle that governs everything here. So he is eternal. He is not prone by time. He is not limited by time. So we get caught up in time thinking, it's going to be forever. It's not going to be forever. It comes for a moment, it has its impact, and then it goes away. And then another incident will come. It goes on to say, trust that Krishna is still there, and that days of waiting were never waste and for naught. The beautiful story that comes to mind is the story in the Ramayana of Shabari, this old woman whose Guru Maharaj told her, you just carry on serving with love this area, this village, this area where she's staying, and one day Sri Ram will come by, your beloved Lord. She says, but which day? I don't know which day, but you just carry on. Gurus usually give answers like that. Nothing is confirmed. You have to kind of experience it out. And it becomes difficult because we want a yes or no, now and then kind of answer. Let it be timeless. But no, it's because it's in the hand of providence. So she very diligently, every day she would sweep the outside of her cottage, and she would collect these beautiful, the only fruit that was there was some kind of berries. And what she would do, she would collect them and keep them. But you know how berries are. It looks red on the outside, but it can be, sourish, terrible, katta. We say in India, katta mita. It's sweet and sour, more sour. So you have to, how to test now whether something is sweet? Only one way, put in the mouth. So she would collect these berries every day, and she would say Ram, Ram, Ram. She would chant Ram's name, thinking that today is the day, maybe he'll come today. Then tomorrow, maybe again, today is the day, he's going to come today. Eventually one day, it really happened. He came by with Lakshman. And when she saw him, you know, Ram is the reservoir of all pleasure. So you can imagine how beautiful he looked. Very attractive. So she was just overwhelmed. She thought she was hallucinating at first. But then she realized it happened. It's happening right now. What my guru said, he'll come, it's happening. And she now wanted to serve him immediately. Devotee means she wants to serve. So immediately she ran and brought those fruits that she collected. But how to know? She wants to give him the best. So how to know if the berries are sweet? She started to bite them. She bit half before offering. Can you imagine this kind of offering? You first may give Lord your jutta. You give your remnants to the Lord. This is love on another level. But Ram was eating. She would first taste sweet, then she would give him. If not sweet, she would leave it aside. This is love. This can only be done with love. This kind of madness. Only a devotee can have this kind of madness. We think we're running after the madness of this material world. Look at the madness of the devotee. Only a devotee can think like this. And only the Lord can understand like this. He is the only one who can understand what is this intention of this devotee. What is this devotee doing? Anybody else looks this. This fellow is mad. This devotee is mad. Why? Because that love is not meant for you, sir. That love is meant for my Lord. That love is meant for Ram, for Krishna. So in that way, she was able to serve him. But how long she had to wait? But she patiently endured. Tate nukampam. Tate nukampam shashumikshamanu bhunjanevatma kritam vipakam ridvagvapubi ridadham namaste jivechu mukti pada sadayavak. Lord Brahma prays in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, that if one who patiently endures all these difficulties in life, then the kingdom of God becomes his rightful inheritance. He inherits the kingdom of God. So this patience we were describing, how important it is. It goes on to say, often great prayers and other long-standing literary offerings that give solace to others are born from the stress and despair of waiting for Krishna to act. We see in the beautiful example of literary offerings to humanity, this one family of the Pandava family, the Arjuna and his grandson. Arjuna, by his difficulty, what was offered to humanity? Bhagavad Gita. And his grandson Parikshit, out of his difficulty, what was offered to humanity? Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, what a contribution this family has given to the world. Two great literary texts, one by Krishna and one about Krishna. So I hope you enjoyed today's class. Please join us again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.